Timbers head coach Caleb Porter joins us on Timbers in 30. Caleb, you guys are the only team in the league to score more than 2 goals in your season opener. The only team in the league to win by more than 1 goal. I know on the weekend after the match, the fans are just buzzing about it. What I want to know is what your reaction is. You're at home Saturday, Sunday after this match. What's going through your mind as a coach?
Looking at all the things that could be better, and the reality. I said it in the post-match. The game was a lot closer than the score. And there'll be some times where I say the game should have been a lot different than the score losing games. And I always look at objectively the performance outside of the result, and the performance was very good. Let's be honest, scoring 5 goals. But the game was a lot closer than the score. So moving into the next week, we have to make sure that we continue to perform well, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. There are 33 more games left to play.
6 players who started for you against Minnesota also started for you in MLS Cup final. How does that spread through the team? How does that influence others given the experience of guys who know what it means to lift that cup?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, you see that in the continuity, and you see that in the chemistry of how we're playing. You know, there's no coincidence there. Obviously, when you have that many guys that are together, know what our team's about, know how to win games, know how to execute the way we want to play. And it was a pretty good model, that game, to execute and clone. So I think it always helps when you have guys together. They have those built-in connections, and you saw that in the match.
The new additions as well, Sebastian Blanco, David Guzman, Lawrence Olam. We saw them in the preseason. It looked like everything was clicking. Same thing as well in the season opener. For a coach, do you need to see it happen in a real regular season match to have kind of full confidence that everything is going to be okay, or were you so confident from the preseason that you expected it?
I would say I probably didn't expect 5 goals, but I definitely expected a good performance because you saw that in the Vancouver game at home. You saw that in the LA Galaxy last preseason game on the road. So the past evidence is usually a good indicator of future evidence and performance, and I thought we just continued that form into that first game of the year.
One of the players who Ross mentioned played an MLS Cup and of course starred on Friday night, Timbers midfielder Diego Valeri. And after 1 week, the Timbers have MLS's co-leaders in scoring, not only Valeri, Fernando Adi, another one of those guys, the only players in the league with 2 goals on opening night. Valeri gets MLS's Player of the Week for his performance. He also had an assist on Portland's first goal in the match. So if you had Diego Valeri on your MLS fantasy team last week, you're in pretty good shape right now. This is the 3rd time in his career that Valeri has been named the MLS Player of the Week. That joins Adi for most in Timbers history. So Caleb, Valeri is from Argentina. Adi is from Nigeria. What struck me, looking at the lineup on Friday night before the match, 10 different countries represented in the 11 players in your starting lineup. Argentina is the only country with 2 players. As a manager, how do you take a group of guys with diverse cultural backgrounds and make them a team?
Good question. I try to lead the team as if, they're all the same type of guys, but also I have to look at them as individuals as well. And, what works for one guy doesn't always work for the next guy. So, if you just focus on the person, then the rest will take care of itself. The soccer's easy, what we do on the pitch and teaching that side of things, but you have to understand that there's a person involved in the equation, and how you get through to that person and that player and how you get them to perform, that's a little bit more finesse. And I think you learn that over time the more you do it. But the best way to lead the individuals is to know them really well. And to know them well, you have to take time to get to know them and care about them.
After 1 week, the Timbers are in first place in MLS's Western Conference. First place in the league, actually. One of 5 teams in the West to win on opening weekend, but tops in goal differential. Now the Timbers go on the road for the first time this season. A Sunday match with the LA Galaxy, who lost to FC Dallas 2-1 in their opening match. The Timbers on the Galaxy is our Advocare Training Report.
Winning on the road or getting results on the road is a big part of making sure you make playoffs and put in a good season. So for us, if we can put a marker down and get a win on the road or put on a good performance on the road, I think that's big for our confidence. And, I think we're just got to keep doing what we've been doing. Like I said, pre-season, first game of the season, we're good. So just got to keep the ball rolling and keep that level high.
is one of our goals. I mean, short-term goals. We need a good start because we know that at the end of the season it will be good. So now we're preparing. We know that during that 90 minutes we need to be focused because LA is a good team. They need a result too, so we work hard for that.
Ross, your local Ford stores look ahead on a Galaxy team that has changed significantly, most notably at head coach.
Yeah, well, the winds of change have been blowing through LA in this offseason. No Steven Gerrard, no Robbie Keane, and no Bruce Arena. In for Bruce Arena is Kurt Onalfo, who's promoted from LA Galaxy to. Didn't get off to the best of starts. As you mentioned, LA Galaxy lost at StubHub Center to FC Dallas last week, and he's also without the services of Jermaine Jones and Dave Romney, who retroactively have been handed one-game suspensions for this match. Players you're likely to see, though, new additions to this LA Galaxy team. João Pedro, who comes in the center midfield position. He's come across from Portugal, Premier Liga. He's meant to be a big influence in the center of the park, as well as Romain Alessandrini, who is an attacking left-sided player who likes to get on the ball as much as possible, get forward, really influence the game. Caleb, for you, seeing this changes go on, you got a little insight 2 weeks ago to this LA Galaxy team. What do you make of this?
Yeah, they're definitely a different team, new coach. With a new coach, there's always subtle differences in how they go about, putting their teams together. You're seeing that. But Kurt's a good coach. He's been around. This is his third time he's coached in MLS, so he's experienced. And I think when you look at their team, they maybe lost some talent, but the overall chemistry, maybe it's better. Who knows? I mean, the jury's still out. It's only one game in, so it's hard to make snap judgments on any team at this point.
For this match, we mentioned a 5-1 win to start the season, but you guys maybe back to reality a little bit. Depth sounds like it's going to be tested against LA. Specifically, Marco Farfan will start at left back. Specifically with Marco, is he ready for this spotlight? And in general, the depth this season, how it'll be tested against LA? How confident are you in the depth that you're going to put out?
Well, I think you said it before. If you're old enough, you're good enough. So I'm confident in Marco Farfan, and we knew at some point that our depth would be tested. We took a few knocks this week, so you already gave the lineup, but I won't go that far. But we'll probably have some new pieces in the lineup based on a few injuries that we took this week. But we built our bench, rebuilt our bench in a stronger way this offseason. And I feel very confident that no matter who's in the lineup, that we're going to get the job done.
Caleb Porter gesturing towards me. If you're old enough, I thought I might be in there for the weekend. I got excited for a second.
Ross Smith will not be playing for the Portland Timbers on Sunday against LA, but for the second straight time to start the season, the Timbers do get a national TV spotlight. 4 p.m. on Sunday, Fox Sports 1. You can also listen to the match. That's where you can find Ross Smith on Sunday. 1029, 750 the game. Ross and I have the call on the radio.